The Legend of Shushan Schwartzman. Chapter 1. Ale only boat on a moonlit night. Minus cry at Wu Gorge while climbing the plank road, meeting a kindred spirit at the end of the world. Minus moving home to hide together in the famous mountains. It is said that Mount Emi in Sichuan is a famous scenic spot in the Shu region. People of old said that the mountains and waters of western Shu are mostly extraordinary, with Emi being especially magnificent. Minus these words are indeed true. Western Shu is most renowned for its spiritual power. The temples and monasteries on the mountain number no less than several hundred. Each year, devout men and women travel thousands of miles to make pilgrimages, combined with the mountain's towering peaks and beautiful waters. Its layered ranges and overlapping ridges presenting myriad scenes. Those who come purely for sightseeing are also quite numerous. The scenery of the rear mountain is particularly secluded and marvelous. Since ancient times, deep mountains and great marshes have indeed bred dragons and serpents, while dense forests and hidden valleys are mostly dwelling places for tigers, leopards, tuckles, and wolves. Those who ventured to the rear mountain often never returned. People speculated wildly. Minus some said they were devoured by tigers, wolves, demons, and monsters. Others claimed they were taken by immortals and Buddhas for transcendence. Arguments abounded with no consensus reached. After all, humans are creatures of flesh and blood, with 8 or 9 out of 10 being weak-willed. Because of these cautionary examples, those visiting the rear mountain gradually held back their steps. This actually benefited the reclusive masters and hermits cultivating in solitude on the rear mountain, sparing them much earthly disturbance and allowing them to enjoy alone the pure blessings of this sacred mountain paradise. But we digress. After Sichuan experienced the chaos of Zhang Jianzong's rebellion at the end of the Ming dynasty, 9 out of 10 households were emptied. Often for hundreds of miles, there were no signs of human habitation. This land of abundance was reduced to a place of gloomy winds and bleakness, like a ghost market. After the Qing dynasty entered the pass, frontier officials memorialized requesting that people from provinces neighboring Sichuan minus such as the Chuhu provinces, Jiangxi, and Shaanxi minus be moved into Sichuan. Moreover, Sichuan's vast land was rich in resources with everything one could need, so the relocated people felt quite at home here with no thoughts of returning to their native lands. With such welcoming conditions, the area gradually recovered its densely populated appearance. They recall that in the second year after Emperor Qingxi ascended the throne, a small boat traveled up the river from Wu Gorge. Besides the boatmen, there were only a father and daughter aboard with one bundle of luggage minus quite meager. Additionally, there was a very heavy traveling bag that seemed to contain iron implements. The old man was barely 50 years of age. Yet his beard and hair were completely white. When he raised his head to look at people, his eyes flashed with light, his face full of wrinkles. One could tell at a glance he was an old man who had experienced great hardships. The girl was only 12 or 13 years old, exceptionally beautiful in appearance. Leaning against the old man's side, she pointed out the misty scenery in soft tones, asking questions constantly, revealing both innocent charm and filial affection. By this time, evening mist was rising everywhere and twilight colors were dim. From behind the mountain corner hung a bright moon, its clear light shining forth, reflecting off people's eyebrows and hair. The old man suddenly said loudly, "How can I bear to look back at my homeland in this moonlight? With such rivers and mountains, when can they return to their rightful owners?" His words were desolate, and tears of age filled his cheeks. The girl said, "Father is feeling sad again. Everything under heaven has its predetermined fate. Grieving to no purpose is useless minus please take care of your health, father. That's what matters." Just as she was speaking, the boatman came over and said, "Old sir, it's getting late. Up ahead is the famous Crow's Beak where there are villages and towns. Let's dock and rest and go ashore to buy some food and wine." The old man said, "Very well, just proceed. I'm somewhat tired today and will go ashore." By the time the boatman finished speaking, they had already reached their destination, and each person went ashore. At this time, the moon was as bright as day. The father and daughter took out the food and wine they had brought and set it at the bow to drink together. Just as they were feeling listless, suddenly from far away in the woods, a person in white emerged. Under the moonlight, they could see quite clearly as he drew near and nearer. This person walked along while singing songs, his voice clear and resonant, capable of splitting metal and stone. Gradually he approached the docking place. The old man's interest was suddenly piqued, and he called out, "On this fine night with bright moon, we cannot let the scenery go to waste. I have food and wine on this boat, Midas. Why don't you come down and share a few cups with us, my friend?" The white-robed man was singing enthusiastically when he suddenly heard someone calling him. He thought this area is mostly inhabited by people from Sichuan, who non-1 rarely encounters northerners. This person's speech is full of capital city accent minus. He must be my fellow countryman. Since he's inviting me, I might as well trouble him for a few cups. Thinking thus as he walked, he soon arrived at the boat. When the two men met and looked carefully at each other, they suddenly embraced and burst into tears. The old man said, "Since our parting in the capital, who would have thought we'd meet again here? The people remain the same, but the rivers and mountains are completely changed, Midas. How can this not break one's heart?" The white-robed man said, "After the Battle of Yangshu, I heard elder brother had already perished. Who would have thought we'd meet in this foreign land? From now on, in my wandering at the ends of the earth, I have another kindred spirit Midas. It can truly be said that my way is not lonely." "This young lady must be your daughter?" the old man said. "Seeing worthy brother, I'm overcome with mixed feelings of surprise and joy, and I forgot to have my daughter Yingquang pay her respects." He then called out, "Yingquang, come over and greet your Uncle Zhu." Hearing her father's words, the girl came over and bowed deeply. The white-robed man returned a half bow and said to the old man, "I see your worthy niece has a face full of heroic spirit minus, truly a daughter of a military family. Elder brother's supreme arts must have found an heir." The old man said to the old man, "Worthy brother doesn't know the full story. Because I knew some martial arts, my family was ruined and people perished. Moreover, when she was born, her mother died with me in the chaos of war. For 10 years we've been running and fleeing with nowhere to settle. She constantly bothers me to teach her martial arts, but I hold firmly to the idea that common people enjoy greater fortune. Furthermore, this child has too much fierce energy in her eyes minus. If she learns martial arts, she will certainly invite trouble in the future. My martial arts are only mediocre. There are many extraordinary people in the world minus. If one's learning is not refined, it only invites fatal disaster. I have only this one daughter and truly cannot feel at ease, so I haven't taught her anything at all. I only hope that in the future I can find her a scholarly husband who will see me to my grave minus. That would be enough." The white-robed man said, "Though you say this, looking at your worthy niece's features, she certainly cannot end her life as an ordinary person. We'll see what the future brings." Hearing the white-robed man's words, the girl couldn't help but raise her elegant eyebrows with joy showing on her face. Yet looking at her aged father, she couldn't help but reveal a hint of melancholy resentment. The white-robed man asked again, "What is elder brother's purpose in entering Sichuan this time?" The old man said, "With the nation destroyed and family ruined, such as fate minus, what purpose could I have? I'm merely coming to this distant place to avoid disaster." Hearing this, the white-robed man said joyfully, "I've been in Sichuan for 3 years now. I found a stone cave in the rear mountain of Emi that's extremely secluded with marvelous scenery. I just came back from the mountain yesterday. Besides this, I've been teaching a few young students. I returned to pack things, preparing to go live as a hermit in the rear mountain cave. Now I'm fortunate to have met elder brother. The only thing is, it's extremely remote there with no human races and many fierce beasts. If you don't fear your worthy niece being frightened, the 3 of us can go hide there together and await our opportunity. What do you think?" Hearing of such a wonderful place, the old man was very pleased and said this would be excellent. "But I don't know how far this place is from that mountain." The white-robed man said, "By land route, it's only 80 or 90 li. Why don't you dismiss the boatman? Stay at my home for 2 days, and then we'll go by land together." The old man said then worthy brother should go ahead. I'll stay on the boat tonight, dismiss the boatman tomorrow, and then come to your residence. But I don't know where worthy brother currently resides. We're both people in hiding. Minus, have you changed your name? The white-robed man said, though I've changed my given name. I haven't changed my surname. Tomorrow when you come to the front village to find me, just ask for Zhu Chun, who teaches at the elementary school. Minus, everyone knows him. It's getting late, and I have an appointment tomorrow, so I won't come to meet you. Since it's not far from here, I'll wait for you at my humble abode. Having said this, he parted from the two and left. After the white-robed man left, the girl asked, is this Uncle Zhu the Zhu Lang who father often mentions? Minus, the one called one of the three heroes of Qi and Lu, who is famous alongside father. The old man said, who else but him? Back in those years, Li Ning, along with your two uncles Yang Da and Zhu Ling, had formidable reputations throughout the Qi, Lu, Yan Anju regions. Your uncle Yang, after the fall of the Ming, was framed by enemies because he remained loyal to the old dynasty. Now only your Uncle Zhu and I remain, and we don't even know if we can keep our heads. Going to Mount Emi, I'm glad to have a good companion, which relieves me of much worry. My child, rest early. Minus, we'll go ashore tomorrow morning. At this point, the boatman returned quite drunk. Li Ning said to the boatman, I remember I have a relative here. I plan to stay with them for a few months, so I'll go ashore tomorrow morning. You've worked hard along the way. Minus, I'll pay you the boat fare in full and give you an additional 4 tardels of silver for wine money. Rest early. Hearing this, the boatmen hastily expressed their thanks and each went to sleep. No more of this. The next morning, Ying Quan and her father arose, shouldered their bags and bundles themselves, bid farewell to the boatman, and headed straight for the front village. After walking about half a li, a young boy suddenly appeared by the roadside, about 11 or 12 years old, with a face like fine jade and buns tied on his head. Though it was only the 7th or 8th month, and the weather in Shu was quite hot, he wore only a set of short blue cloth shirt and pants. Seeing the two approach, he came forward and said, you two who've come. Minus, are you looking for my teacher Zhu Chun? Li Ning answered, we are indeed here to visit Mr. Shu. How did you know? Hearing this, the young boy hastily bowed deeply, saying, Master Uncle doesn't know. Minus, last night my teacher returned and was so happy he couldn't sleep all night. He said he met Master Uncle and Senior Sister at Grosbeak early this morning because he had an appointment with someone yesterday and couldn't come to meet you. He commanded me to wait here and guide Master Uncle. Up ahead is my teacher's school. Teacher has gone to his appointment but will return soon. Please, Master Uncle, go in first and sit a while and have some breakfast. Li Ning found this boy's appearance extraordinary and his speech articulate, and was very pleased with him. Talking along the way, they soon arrived at Zhu Chun's home. Though it was a thatched cottage with bamboo fences, it was tidied quite cleanly and elegantly. The boy went inside and brought out 3 sets of bowls and chopsticks, cut a large plate of preserved meat and a dish of blood tofu, and a pot of wine, inviting father and daughter to sit at the head of the table while he sat sideways at the lower side. He said, Master Uncle, please have some morning wine. Just as Li Ning was about to question him, the boy went to the back and brought out 3 bowls of vinegar noodle soup and a plate of pickled vegetables. Seeing that at such a young age he was so attentive in receiving guests, Li Ning liked him even more. While having some food and drink, he asked, Young nephew, what's your name? When did you start studying with your teacher? The boy said, My name is Zhou Yan'er. My father was a Hanlin academician of the Ming dynasty and died at the hands of Li Zicheng. My mother and uncle fled here, but unfortunately my uncle also died. My family was extremely poor. Minus, I had no choice but to herd cattle for others, while my mother did work for wealthy households, barely getting by. 3 years ago, Mr. Shu came here and, taking pity that I was from an official family, had me take him as my teacher. He often helps my mother and me. teaching me reading and martial arts.